Oh, that looks pretty good. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Michael A. Grimm, aka Multi-Voice Reviewer, and I know I'm wearing a USA cap, but and of course, one thing you started to notice about my USA cap, I have a American flag pin on it. I thought that if I do my Doctor Who series, this cap with the American flag pin on it would be my fez for my Doctor Who series. I mean, sometimes you see me find the hat and I'll put it on my head, or sometimes or I just lost it somehow. Kind of like how Matt Smith was with the fez. Anyway, according to my Doctor Who watch here, folks, one thing I had to say to you folks is this. Happy New Year! Ha ha ha! Imagine that, folks. I mean, it's been that long. I mean, I had a lot of good times, a lot of good memories, both good and bad, since the year of 2019. But now it's time to say goodbye to 2019 and hello 2020. Here's something I wanted to try here. Hello, I'm Barbara Walters, and this is 2020. Oh, I always wanted to do that. Anyway, for this new year, this will be like the beginning of my sixth season. Man, I cannot believe I've been doing this show for like 5 years. Although some of you have seen my fifth year anniversary. So, right now it's going to be season 6 on my show now. The beginning. And, for this, and of course the reason why I'm wearing my personal Doctor Who outfit, and of course I do love the suede jacket. Suede's cool. Oh, the belt went loose. Run the loop. Anyway, folks, on my blue suede jacket. I know, Elvis always says blue suede shoes, but he never wore a blue suede jacket. Like I do. Besides, it matches the color of the TARDIS. And I'll never tie this tie. I'll let it dangle like a scarf. It's my old fashion. I'm going for the laid-back doctor type. Laid-back college professor. But I still have the clock design on my shirt, as you can see. And on my collars. But enough about my Doctor Who. For today's show, this here is going to be another theory. And that's why I dressed up as the Doctor Who, because it's a sci-fi crossover theory. Oh yeah, that's right. It is a crossover theory. And for this crossover theory, I have the most unbelievable crossover theory I can ever think of. And that crossover is going to involve most of my favorite sci-fi crossover with one sci-fi that I'm kind of okay with, but I'm not that crazy of. But this crossover theory will be none other than Alien versus Predator versus Terminator and Robocop. I thought this would be a good picture to pose right here. I know the printers are getting a little low on ink, but I'm going to ask those people to bring in some fresh new ink for the printer. But anyway, before I'm going to get to it, first, I'm going to do some updates. And for those of you who are going to be wondering, who's going to be asking me, first I'm going to talk about the Alien movies. Now, some of you are going to hate me to hear me say this, but I never did like the Alien movies. Hear me out. Now, Ridley Scott did a really good job making a really scary sci-fi story. And of course, not many people know that the movie Alien was actually based from a B-rated sci-fi horror movie called It Came From... I think it's called It Came from Outer Space, or It Came from Beyond, or something like that. But anyway, the first movie, it creeped the crap out of me, and I wasn't that crazy about it at all. But when they made the sequel, though, Aliens, I like Aliens better than the first movie because it made it more action-packed, and they also introduced the Space Marines, and I really like the Space Marines in the movie. Well, except Huskins. I mean, him and his, how do I get out of this chicken crap outfit? You secure that crap, Huxon. Game over, man! Game over! But when they made Aliens 3, no, I did not like it. It was stupid. And the characters that were supposed to survive in the movie, especially the little girl Newt, she was supposed to survive in the second movie, and they just killed her off, along with Huxon and Bishop. And Ripley all of a sudden encountered a face hugger, and now she has a queen inside her chest that she has to commit suicide. I did not like it. But, now I don't care what Nostalgia Critic says, I like Alien Resurrection. I thought it took a new, different turn. I like the idea of Ripley being part human, part alien, and Riona Ryder, who everybody has crushes on Riona Ryder, playing this girl that not many people know that she's an android. She's a robot. And a lot of people always kept saying, is Prometheus a backstory to the Alien franchise? Yes and no, or I just say big question mark. I don't know. I mean, to me, it's just I got nothing to say about this. And of course, introducing this new aliens called the Engineers. I mean, I don't like their origin. I don't like anything about them. And then they made this new Aliens movie, Alien Covenant, which I didn't want to watch because I just had a feeling that it won't be as good as I think it would be. And now I'm hearing there's a new Alien movie coming out. But this is my thought about aliens. You probably would hate me for what I've said, but it's how I feel, okay? It's how I feel. Now, some of you have remembered that I already did the Predator movie on my last review. If some of you haven't seen my Predator review, I think I should put a link in the bottom so you guys can see my Predator review. I reviewed 1 and 2, the third new movie. These Alien vs. Predator movies, though, I like the first one. The second one is still traumatizing, and I hated it. And now I hear about this new Predator movie, which I'm thinking about watching it. I'm just thinking about it. It might be interesting, but who knows? Now, for those of you who remember my Terminator... Oh, speak of the devil. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Multi-Voicenator. I told you I'll be back. Greetings, Multi-Voice Reviewer. 'Tis I, Multi-Voicenator. Now here's what I would say about some of you. Some of you probably remembered that I did review all three of the Terminator movies. And for those of you who haven't seen my Terminator review, I would put the link down below along with the Predator review. Now a little update that I'm going to do for you folks. My thoughts about the others. They made the Terminator TV series called Sarah Connor Chronicles. And I have to say, the actress who plays Sarah Connor, she's pretty hot. I had to say. And I told the Cookie Monster to put the cookie down now! Anyway. And of course, you can't go wrong with the actress who plays this female Terminator who's supposed to protect John Connor. And all of a sudden, he starts having feelings for her. I think she's a lot more interesting than the Terminator himself. And then all of a sudden, they had to make all these other Terminator movies. A lot of people always kept saying that they're so bad. Like they did Terminator. This Terminator movie, I cannot pronounce the second title. Is it... Anyway, having Christian Bale playing John Connor, he did a good job. But they introduced a new person, a character who don't even know that he's a Terminator. He's a normal, average human being with physical emotions, who can endure physical pain, but he's also last hope to save John Connor and the rest of humanity. Which I had to say, it's a good concept. Good concept indeed. And then they did the one that everybody said that was terrible. Terminator Genocide. Genesis. Where they have this actress, this British actress from Game of Thrones playing Sarah Connor. She looks like the younger version of Linda Hamilton. But the actor who plays Kyle Reese, he's just really bad. And of course, having Arnold Schwarzenegger himself playing a old Terminator who just showed up and protects Sarah Connor. So now that timeline has been changed. And then they added again by making a brand new Terminator movie. And they brought back Linda Hamilton called Terminator Dark Fate. Well, now there's a new Terminator who can separate himself. And there is this girl. She's just like the character from that other Terminator movie. She's a normal human being with a mechanical skeletal structure inside of her. And now she's supposed to protect this young girl who is also humanity's last hope against the robots. And they have help with Linda Hamilton and Sarah Connor and the Terminator himself, who both don't like each other, but they have to work together. And this is my thoughts about the latest Terminator movies. The TV series might be very interesting, and I don't care what other people say about the others. I say the Terminator 3 was a really good one. I don't care what other critics say. And since I'm here, I wanted to talk about a certain other character who's supposed to be a part of this crossover theory. Robocop. Now, not many people know that they based Robocop from the comic books of Judge Dredd. That would be pretty interesting. That would be pretty interesting if you hear Robocop saying, "I am the law. You are under arrest. I am the law." But kind of imagine if Sylvester Stallone played Robocop. "I am the law. You betray the law. Law." Sooner or later, I will talk to Multi-Voice Reviewer of reviewing Robocop. Reviewing Judge Dredd. But right now, let's talk about Robocop. A story about a man who goes by the name of Alex Murphy. He was ambushed by a bunch of crooks, and they fired him to death. Fired their guns right in front of him, killed him instantly. And now he came back as a cop. But he was under control until he found his humanity and started noticing that everybody thought he was dead. But now he decided to straighten himself up and took vengeance on those who killed him. And of course, the CEO of OCP is behind this. And then they made a sequel where there is this new kind of drug called the Nuke, owned by a guy who goes by the name of Cage. And then he finally stopped Cage, but CEO killed him and made him into a new Robocop, which I say that is a bad idea. Have a criminal as a Robocop than a real cop. That's terrible. And then they did the one where a lot of people said that it was a really bad Robocop movie. Robocop 3. But to me, I think it was a good movie. It's not all that bad. And then they kept Robocop's legacy going by making Robocop TV series, which was a really good series. And then they did cartoons of Robocop a couple of times. And yes, I also gonna mention the downright disaster movie ever made, Robocop the remake. That movie was downright terrible. It didn't have the same aspects or design or anything like the original was. It was just completely stupid. And believe it or not, a lot of people been asking about it, and it does happen. There was a comic book called Alien vs. Predator vs. Terminator, where the Terminator got involved with the aliens and predators. Believe it or not. And there was a comic book they made. Of course, some of you have seen Death Battle of Robocop vs. Terminator. They were very entertaining. And then they made comic books of Robocop vs. Terminator, which is pretty interesting. And the comic book got popular enough that they made Robocop vs. Terminator, the video game. Multi-Voice Reviewer, he has a Super Nintendo version of it. Although, the Super Nintendo was really crappy. He should have get the Sega version of it. The Sega Genesis is a lot better than the Super Nintendo version. Anyway, this is a Multi-Voicenator telling to you all, I'll be back. Thank you, Multi-Voicenator. Well, since I got the review done, let's get to the crossover theory, shall we? Oh, and this time since my last crossover theory with Chucky versus the Puppet Master was alright, I'm gonna do something that I did before, which I had better praise on. I'm gonna use action figures. Now, how this crossover is gonna happen, it's gonna start with the never-ending future war between man and machine. And you have the Terminator here and the Soldier. I know this is the Hicks action figure from the toy line of Aliens, but they're very similar to the soldiers on Terminator. So they've been having war against one another until something big happened. Ships starts appearing in front of their battlefield, and some of the lasers kept firing on both the Terminators and the humans. Both the Terminators and the humans. And then a bunch of predators all of a sudden laid a bunch of eggs, kidnapped a bunch of human soldiers, and then offsprings of aliens start showing up. And now the aliens start to get overpopulated, and the predator starts having battle against one another once again. And since the since the Terminator discovered this threat is bigger than him and the humans, so the humans put aside their differences and decided to work together to deal against the threat. But of course, the Terminator, he found a log. It holds a certain person who thinks would be humanity's only hope. Someone who is part human, part machine, who'll be able to stop the predators and the aliens. Anyway, the Terminator discovered that there was a log of a part human, part machine who is reality's only hope. So they went to a war-torn Detroit. Kind of funny if I said it that way. War-torn Detroit, where it lies the remains of Alex Murphy, aka Robocop. It turns out that his system was shut off, so the Terminator got into his databank and revived him. So now the Robocop is teaming up with the human soldiers and the Terminators. And they start going into battle, battling against tons of the alien and predators. And of course, Robocop, he discovered that his gun is old-fashioned because it's the predators are too advanced and the bullets wouldn't even go through it. So the Terminator, he rebuilt his pistol, so now it shoots plasmas. So now the Terminator and the Robocop and the soldiers gain the upper hand against the Predator. Now, when they went to the alien territory, the xenomorphs, they call them, they pretty much wiped all of them out and they found the Queen. And the soldier shoot his bazooka towards the Queen, while the Terminator and the Robocop killed all the facehugger eggs. So now the aliens are all dead. Now it's up to the Predator. And it becomes a one-on-one fight between the Predator and the Terminator, that even the Terminator says, "You are one ugly MF." I know, I can't say the line. But it's a reference to the first movie. Anyway, they went one-on-one, they fought. Now, even though his lasers kept hitting the Terminator, it wasn't enough to go right through him because his endoskeletal, it's not made of Titan, but coltan, the most indestructible metal in the world. So now the Terminator had gained the upper hand and ripped the Predator's head off. And of course, the human soldiers, the Terminators, and Robocop, they all finally wiped out all the Predators and aliens, and they all got in their ship and left. But here was a problem. Since the threat is gone, the Terminators are thinking about firing back against the human race. But Robocop, who is Alex Murphy, he's going to put an end to this with the help of the Terminator, since he is reprogrammed and decided to be on Alex Murphy's side. He was like this: "Predator, yes. Are you with me or against me? I've been reprogrammed, so I guess I am with you. Good, because I might need your help." So they went to Skynet, the one who started it, the whole robots rebelling against the human race. And the soldier who helped him, his name is Hickson. He got farther into the to the Skynet base until he got wounded. He got wounded pretty bad, and he tells Robocop to finish the mission, save the human race. So now they both went to the main CPU, and now the Terminator got into the main computer, while Robocop, he plugged himself into the main CPU, and it created an electromagnetic pulse throughout the entire Terminator robot system. And Robocop says, "Robots are not meant to destroy the human race or serve. the human race. They are there to protect, help out, and also better the future. This time, humans and robots should be in peace. So now, Robocop becomes the main computer. He leaves his body and now becomes the main computer for Skynet, and also got some of the rebel robots. So now, the human race is now finally in peace with the Terminators. And of course, next time if the Predators or the aliens showed up in their planet, they'll be ready. And that ends my crossover theory. Well, Multi-Voicenator, what do you think about that? I think it's a good crossover theory. I think it's a good way to end it. Besides, machines are not made to serve or destroy the human race. I think machines are built for a better future and to better ourselves. And I think the word you were looking for, multi-voice reviewer, is of course reboot. Not create the electromagnetic pulse, but rebooted itself, restarted itself, so they know, so they will not be no longer controlled by the old mainframe, but now Alex Murphy controls them. Anyway, I think it's a good idea. So for those of you who likes the multi-voice reviewers crossover theory, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. And if you don't like it, I'll be back. Right there, Multi-Voicenator. How many times I told you not to aim your gun at anybody, especially at the camera? Well, since he already took over my usual speech, if you like it, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. Oh yeah, and I also forgot my old catchphrase. Multi-voice reviewer. I have many voices, but one opinion. But anyway, hope you enjoy this crossover theory, and Happy New Year's for everybody. I hope you enjoy your New Year party and such. As for me, I have something in mind I'm going to review for this New Year's. And one thing I'm going to say about this is the force is strong with this one. Gee, I should have traded my sonic screwdriver for a sonic lightsaber. Anyway, goodbye, everybody.